10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Next issue we want to talk about is an issue that went really, really big, and we brought in a special lawyer to discuss about it. Everyone, make some noise for Zan, y'all. Okay, first of all, the drama started with Harvey Weinstein.
Weinstein, same lah. You guys get it lah.
Weinstein. Okay, if y'all don't know who that guy is, Miramax. He started the whole Miramax thing, and slowly allegations started coming out about sexual assaults and sexual harassment from this guy, and it's blown out of proportion to the point where you've got people like Angelina Jolie, you've got people like Kate Beckinsale, and so many big people coming in. Then got me thinking, this is not exclusive to Hollywood. This happens everywhere in the world. So in Malaysia, what is our rights when it comes to sexual harassment? That's why we brought this champion in. Now, first of all,
Yes.
first question.
Yeah.
Is there a statute of limitations when it comes to sexual harassment? Before anything, if y'all don't know what statute of limitations is, from the time of the crime to the time the crime, from the time of the crime, there's a limit of how long before you can report it.
Okay.
So, what's...
Well, when it comes to sexual harassment, when we talk about whether is it a criminal offence, no, it's not a criminal offence in Malaysia. However,
whoa, what?
Yeah, sexual harassment is not a criminal offence.
So I can grab your ass and not get in trouble for it?
Well, you can.
I won't grab your ass, lah.
Well,
I'm just saying. Hypothetically.
It depends on what kind of trouble.
Okay.
You can talk about the criminal kind of trouble or the civil kind of trouble.
Okay.
Right. So when we talk about criminal, as far as criminal is concerned, sexual harassment is not explicit in the penal code. Rather, it's criminal laws. So we don't have, but we do have intimidation. We do have that may come within the ambit of sexual harassment, but that scope is quite limited when it comes to criminal, as far as criminal is concerned.
Okay.
However, when it comes to civil, there are recourses,
Okay.
and when we talk about civil, we talk about at the end of the day, what do we get, and we talk about damages.
Suing!
Suing. Yes.
Right. That one everyone knows the word.
Yes.
Sue! Money! You touch my ass, give me money!
Correct. So there
I don't believe I said that. But yeah.
yeah. So when you talk about sexual harassment, you're talking about whether it's civil or whether it's criminal.
Right.
So yeah, that's the state of affairs.
So when it's criminal, then it's prison time and so on and so forth.
Correct.
When it's civil, suing.
Suing. Yes, correct.
Okay,
Alright.
just a question. So as a victim, do I need to have knowledge of whether it's civil or whether it's criminal before I make a report?
Well, when you're at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself as a victim in this situation, what would you want out of it?
Right.
Do you just want him to be punished?
Okay.
Do you want to get some compensation out of it?
Okay.
So when we talk about civil, as far as civil is concerned, you're talking about, say for example, like compensation,
Right.
and you have to have knowledge of what you want at
Right.
the end of the day.
Okay.
So that's what I know.
All right. We had someone in the crowd who has a question. What
Yeah.
was your question again?
What would actually be included as a sexual harassment for someone to file for a report?
Okay.
So what has to be there?
Okay. What
Yeah.
falls under sexual
Yeah,
harassment?
what's the premise?
Okay.
Sexual assault, everybody knows.
Okay, in Malaysia, as far as when we talk about Malaysia, we're talking about sexual harassment in workplace. Unfortunately, in Malaysia, sexual harassment is not it's not cover things outside of work. But if it's connected to the course of employment, then you may have an argument there. Okay,
Okay. What falls under sexual harassment?
so under the Employment Act, okay, and I don't want to quote too much laws here, but under the Employment Act, sexual harassment means any unwanted sexual conduct in the form of physical, verbal, non-verbal gesture, or any physical conduct that causes threat or harm or annoyance to the victims in the course of employment.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, for example, there was a case filed in the federal court, and one of the conducts were things like words like uttering like the word. Can I use profanities here?
Yes.
Like fuck you.
Okay.
Right. That can be a form of sexual harassment. It can also be in that case, the superior in his laptop put the word fuck you as a password. So every time the subordinate has to go to the laptop, she has to type fuck you. And things like words like
Wow.
yeah.
I
Words,
never thought
yeah,
that of.
Yeah. Words, even words like you want to marry, you want to get together with a married person, like that. Those kind of things are utterance, words. You know, it's very wide in terms of what sexual harassment can be. But think of it this way: sexual harassment is a spectrum. It's a degree. It's not something which is like black and white, A, B, C, D. It's not. It's a spectrum.
So as long as you feel like a discomfort towards certain issues that's happening, you can highlight it.
Correct. So there has to be a certain sexual element to that also.
Right.
Yes.
So it. Okay. When he said sexual element, I don't know whether that helps explain anything. Okay.
You even
If it makes me uncomfortable, like if someone looks at me, I'm just saying if I'm a girl and looks at me like, damn, you look nice today. Is that sexual harassment?
Well, damn, you look nice today. It may be construed as a form of compliment.
Okay.
But if you look at a girl and you say, damn, big tits,
Okay.
you know, of course that would connote a sexual element to that.
Okay.
But things like maybe catcalling, oogling.
Which a lot of people ask, what about catcalling and
Yes,
stuff like that?
that can concern. In fact, oogling, all these are actually words used by the federal court, used by the court to say that yes, that can be a form of sexual harassment. But you see, again, I go back to the idea of degree and spectrum. It's not something which is a very clear-cut kind of thing. When it comes to sexual harassment, a lot of things are ambiguous, and we have to take into account that when it comes to sexual, the word sexual is very, very hard to define it at the end of the day.
Wow.
So
That's scary. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is
no,
very scary.
when it comes to like catcalling and stuff, how do you prove that the guy catcalled?
Exactly.
You need proof, lah.
You need proof. So we can use things like WhatsApp. We can use things like videos, CCTV. But if that's why I encourage for any victims to put any sort of evidence in terms of what you know. But you see, when it comes to catcalling and all this, it's very hard to put it in videos and stuff because there's no CCTV 24 hours at the time. But when in workplace, if you have access to those devices, where sometimes WhatsApp, you know, sometimes some of these victims they get sexual text messages. Some of these cameras are on and stuff. So it's important to gather all evidence, but it doesn't have to be supported by. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to support by a third person. That doesn't mean that when a witness there is a witness in the case, that doesn't mean that witness will have to say yes, there was indeed catcalling. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to sexual harassment, it always happens in the private setting.
Yes, of course.
Yes. So the court has ruled that the recent federal court has ruled that you don't need a third party. It doesn't necessarily mean you need
Thank
a third
God
party.
for that,
Yeah.
because most of the time sexual harassment happens behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Because the guy doing it knows he's fucking up. So therefore he says, everyone leave the room, I just want to leave this girl here or this guy here, and then it happens.
Yes, correct.
So but that also leaves to people making fake allegations. How do you
Yeah, it's exactly, which is why the definition of sexual harassment has to be very clear. And at the moment in Malaysia, the context of sexual harassment only goes so far as workplace is concerned. Now, we know that sexual harassment not only happens in workplace, it happens everywhere.
Yep.
In fact, it happens on the street, it happens in outside, you know, like the Harvey Weinstein case,
Yes.
right? Is it Harvey?
Yes, Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein. It happens. Well, in Malaysia, as far as Malaysia is concerned, you have to be an employee in order for you to actually initiate a civil suit. But that's because the limitation of what we have in Malaysia. But in other jurisdictions, the definition of sexual harassment is much wider.
Right.
It's much wider.
So it's tougher here in Malaysia.
It's tougher.
No,
here.
but
Actually, it's tougher here. in Malaysia.
That's the scary part. When it comes to Harvey Weinstein, if you all don't know the case, there are few people who reported to HR.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, HR is paid by bosses. If your boss is thinking with his prick, and you don't want to lose your job, so you defend your boss rather than
Correct.
Right.
But in Malaysia, as far as HR is concerned, there is a mandatory provision in Malaysia under the Employment Act for the employers to conduct what is called domestic inquiry, or rather inquiry into sexual harassment. If they don't, they will be liable to a fine of 10,000 ringgit.
So as long as there's a report,
so as long as
you're
report,
liable
then
to
they
have
have to do
take
something
action.
lah.
If they don't do, and they have to justify why they did not do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's clear this since we're on this.
Yeah.
All right, steps. Since we're talking about work, is the easiest thing at the moment.
Yeah.
We realize the law in Malaysia covers work, nothing else.
Yes.
All right. Even ad hoc work, or maybe a celebrity coming for a movie. If you want to come for a movie, you have to come and have dinner with me first.
Yeah.
That can be work, right?
That's the thing. You see, when in terms of, if you want to talk about Malaysia,
Right.
if you want to talk about Malaysia, when I'm talking about Malaysia, it has to be a relationship between employee employer.
Okay.
That is the scope of limitation when it comes to
Oh,
Malaysia.
that's fucked up.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so the scope is very limited. So if you're talking about, say for example, I'm a Hollywood media mogul,
Okay.
alright, such as Harvey Weinstein, and an actress who is not my employee comes and I start to make sexual advances against that particular person, it's going to be very tough for that person.
So in
to
Malaysian law is protected.
Yes, we do not have a specific act such as, even Singapore they have protection of harassment act. Even in UK they have protection of harassment
That's
act.
fucked up. I never
that's
knew
quite
that.
sad.
Yeah, in
That's quite
Malaysia
sad.
unfortunately we do not have a particular registration or a specific legislation.
So at this
to
point
address
of
sexual
time, what can you do? For example, let's say if this happens in office, what can a victim do? What the proper steps now?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're an employee in a company,
Yeah.
what you can do is to lodge a complaint. Whether you lodge a complaint to the HR or whether you make a police report,
Okay.
make sure you do it at the first instance. And when I mean first instance, I mean immediately. Don't contemplate, because there's a case to say that after 2 weeks of contemplation,
Yes.
the case is dropped. You see, the case, you have to act
Even though the
immediately.
statute of limitations is for infinite, but still after 2 weeks there's doubt.
Yes. So you must act swift. Because if there is indeed sexual harassment, then why would you wait for it?
Right.
Why would you wait for it? Maybe I understand there are arguments to say that, for fear of their reputation or what not.
Yeah.
But if truly there is sexual harassment, I implore everybody, any victim at all, to do it as fast as you can.
Yeah, because I have a situation, a scenario where there was an event. It happened where an employee of the premise saw some people taking upskirt photos, but this employee kind of kept quiet after a
Yeah.
while because he wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But the following week, then she made a complaint.
Yeah.
So what happens? Like,
It does not negate your chance totally.
alright.
But what I would say that is, you just do it as immediately as you
Immediately.
can. Do not contemplate, because if there is indeed sexual harassment, lodge a complaint.
Okay.
Do it.
So the
Do not
police, the
hesitate.
police has the jurisdiction as well when you make a police report.
Yes, the police has a jurisdiction to investigate on grounds of intimidation.
Okay.
Not sexual, but
Right.
intimidation,
Okay.
as far as criminal is concerned.
Now I want to talk on behalf of celebrities.
Okay.
Some of my female celebrity friends have gone through it. I'm not going to even mention names.
Don't.
But I'm saying, you're hired for an event to be an
Yeah.
MC or performers or anything.
Yeah.
Then you're invited to the VIP section.
Yeah.
And at the VIP section, you hear, "Hey, nice, you today come and sit next to me," and shit like that.
Yeah.
That is sexual harassment. What are their rights to defend themselves? Because they haven't been paid yet. When it comes to a celebrity, you're not being paid yet.
Correct.
So technically, you don't want to be not paid, but what can they do?
Okay, I would say this though. When it comes to sexual harassment, and when it comes to the law, there's always a challenge, and that challenge is a balance of both. And on one end you have the need to protect victims of harassment.
Yes.
And on the other hand, you want to prevent abuse, because you don't want any Tom, Dick, and Harry to say, "Hey, come on, that is
Yeah.
flirting." When in fact the intention of that guy is just basically to just flirt and
Yeah.
get
Something
the
more.
attention.
Try like lah.
Like, try. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
if everybody is so afraid of the idea of sexual harassment, then, then where would the lines of flirting and sexual harassment be? At the end of the day, Well,
Shit.
yeah. So that is a very grey area. But when it comes to when it comes to the situation that you told me about, say for example, a celebrity comes over and then she's hired for an event. Well, the question would then be: is she an employee or is she an independent contractor? Because there's difference. There's a difference between contract of service and contract for service. When you're an employee, you're basically a contract of service, meaning you're employed under the law.
Right.
But if it's for service, that means you are hired for a particular set of time, and
Right.
you're just an independent employer. You're not entitled to benefits. You're just an independent contractor.
Okay.
So, what is the relationship between the celebrity and the company?
So then, what do? You cannot.
What you can do is, if in that situation, you can file a police report. Whether you have grounds of thoughts, civil remedies, there has to be. You can try your best to file. But then again, I would say your chances are not that strong.
But you said like you need some kind of proof,
Yes.
and it's pretty hard because
Yes.
it happens.
It
on the
happens
spot.
on a daily basis.
yeah.
So is it smart to say that if someone invites you to a room and you're not comfortable with it, always invite a friend with you? Because then at least you have someone to collaborate the story.
Yeah, but then again, that's a good solution. But when it comes to things like, I mean, I'm not a celebrity myself, but sometimes these whoever that's higher in the position would want to just say, hey, you come alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Then
I'm sure those situations happen.
yes, exactly.
And you, I mean, you can vouch for me for that.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what their intentions are.
Yes.
At the end of the day. And it's important, I would say, more important for these people to actually record whatever they say.
Right.
So there's evidence. At the end of the day, we need a record. That's very important, because at the end of the day, it's your word against the perpetrator's word.
Correct. Yeah.
So guys, if you really, guys, girls, whoever, if you're really stuck in a situation, turn your phone to voice memo,
Yeah.
record, put it in your phone.
Yeah.
One final question.
Yeah.
In the event that you just pursue a case,
Yes.
how long does this case go on?
Oh, that's a
Is
good
it
one.
worthwhile to pursue it? If it's going to be in court for 5 years, is it worth 5 years of your time?
Well,
The question, just in case people can't hear, it was how long does it take
yeah.
from
Once you make a report.
allegation
Yeah.
to prosecution?
Okay. It really depends on, number one, how much are you claiming? Yeah. In the previous federal court case, and that's federal court. When I talk about federal court, I talk about the highest court in the land.
Yeah.
The victim was awarded 120,000 in damages.
Okay.
Okay, so you're talking about how much you're claiming. Number one, complexity of the case is very important, and also number two, whether you have the relevant evidence to actually prove that.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about timelines, it wouldn't be 5 years, because a normal breach of contract case wouldn't last 5 years, because these judges have KPIs.
Yes.
Oh.
These judges have this, so
Judges about KPI.
Yes, the chief justice would say, hey, you have to finish this case within this amount of time.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, they will have to adhere to a certain timeline. But having said that, that doesn't mean cases won't drag.
I've
right?
seen some cases drag
Yeah.
7 years just
Yes.
because
Yeah.
they know how to stall.
They know how to stall the case. So at the end of the day, you really have to look at what you want at the end of the day, and if it's very straightforward, and if you have the relevant evidence, then it would be disposed of very fast. So yes, she has a question.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the question is, what if as an employee you make a complaint,
Mm-hmm.
right, and then the case is going to go on for like 2 or 3 years, and the employee is still working at the workplace in terms of protection, how should be treated in the company. Let's say the person that she's making the allegations on is
Boss.
is the big boss, a CEO or CFO, right? So how is she protected at her workplace?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
The question
Because
is
a lot of people don't come forward
because they're
for
scared.
reasons.
All right, like this. Like what she's saying. I'm an employee. My CEO
Yeah.
made a teruk line, all right, and sexual harassment. I file a case. The case is being disputed. But CEO is still CEO, and I am still employee. How am I protected?
Well, unfortunately for the employee, they would have to. You see, you cannot be dismissed. Rather, I think the question is whether you would be dismissed, right? in those circumstances? Are you asking that? Is the fear of dismissal?
Or either the
behind
fear of
question?
protection, more like if I'm still working,
Yeah.
am I protected? Can my boss still?
Yeah,
Wait.
because I love my workplace. I don't want to leave
Yeah.
because I'm the
Fear of dismissal.
Yeah, actually, at the end of the day, you're scared
or
of.
even if it's not dismissal, how will I be treated there?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I cannot really say how will you be treated because that's not really a legal question. But I can answer you how you're protected in the law. And
Okay.
that would be in the sense that they cannot dismiss you just because you have filed a complaint.
Okay.
But
that cannot be an issue. But you see, once
there's
the
nothing-
matter is decided,
Yeah.
and there is no sexual harassment, at all, and they find the domestic work, or rather the court finds that there's no sexual harassment, then of course the employer is at liberty to do what they should do.
shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that would entail I don't know.
Wow.
But
It would-
I have a follow-up. Let's say if,
Yeah.
okay, for example, you're still working there, your CEO is still there, but your CEO is now making your life miserable. Can you still use that as evidence throughout?
Yeah, you can.
You can use that.
To enhance your case?
Record it.
Right.
Okay.
In fact, I would implore victims to tell, okay, I understand that there may be a sort of disparity between the relationship between a CEO and probably a subordinate. It's very hard for you to actually do all this, but at the end of the day, record it. You know,
Yeah.
Record it.
just put it in writing.
And-
put videos.
And just like what happened to Harvey Weinstein,
Yeah.
it just takes one person to come out. Then, if he's done it once, he's done it more than once. Okay, if
Yeah.
he's done it once, he's done it 1,000 times. I'm sure more people would step out,
Yeah.
ask around, find more people. Then it's safety in numbers, I guess, right? That.
Got one last question though.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, in terms of society, right? Us, I'm not the victim, but I see something happening. How can I help? Like, is public policing allowed?
Yes, policing is you're actually allowed to arrest somebody.
Oh, wow.
But
Can I Miranda rights or can
Yeah, you can.
You have the right to remain silent.
yeah, but those are relevant. But I would say better for you to go and advise the person and
Right.
tell them, say that hey, you should go and do it, because if you don't do it, your chances of that perpetrator being free and doing it to
Someone
even
else.
people you're close with,
Yeah.
that has to be done.
I'm-
It actually, you know what, I'm very constricted. I'm very restricted to actually say my opinion on this, but I'd say it really boils down to the culture of each country. And in Malaysia, unfortunately, it's the Asian culture that really, really, really restricts us.
Don't say.
Yeah.
Keep quiet. Shy the
Yeah,
family. Shy the
I
family.
know,
yeah.
shy. Even as let's not talk about. Let's talk about a guy. Let's talk
Yes.
about male harassment. Would you actually think how many Asian males would actually make a complaint and tell whoever that needs to be told that hey, I've been harassed? That would be very shameful.
Yeah.
So it really boils down, as opposed to the Weinstein situation where so many and those in Western culture setting, these women are very brave enough, and I really respect these women to actually come out and say these things. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So the question is, can we expect in an Asian setting to actually do that?
I guess we
can
gotta change our mindset.
We have to have a change of mindset when it comes to sexual harassment, because really sexual harassment is really a very sensitive topic, and it's not something which we take it very seriously, especially in Malaysia.
And you know what? Here's another question. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know this is taking long, but sexual harassment in family.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
You see, there are not many laws to protect us when it comes to, but there are laws to protect us when it comes to family, domestic violence. We can go on that route, but whether or not is it sexual, it is. I admit it's a bit hard.
Okay, I'm going to be really gross here. If you're grossed out, thank you for being grossed out, because that means you're a human being. But an uncle grabbing a niece's ass.
Yes.
Okay, I
That-
know a lot of people be like, "What the hell wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why you doing that?" But there are some fucked up people in the world.
Make the police report. Make the police report. We can go on either intimidation or assault or anything like that. If you want criminal ramifications, then go ahead with criminal ramifications. But if you're talking about getting something out of it, money out of it, then it's a wholly entire different story when it
Right.
comes to family.
Yeah. I think the problem here is victims
Wow.
are too afraid
Yes.
to say that. That's why maybe because our laws are not that tight, because there's not enough people voicing out.
But
In fact, I would say this. The statistics shows from 2005-2008, our Minister for Women's Community and Family Development has reported that only 3,906 rape cases or sexual cases have been reported to the ministry. So,
That's so
in
much.
Malaysia, there are over 3.1 million Malaysians, and that's 3,000.
Yeah.
That's so little compared to the amount of Malaysians we have in Malaysia. That's really, really, really small numbers. So you can really see how sexual harassment is really perceived in Malaysia.
Right.
yeah, and another thing, I'll have to bring this up because I've
Yeah.
seen sexual harassment in workplace where the boss goes to the new guy, and like he said, it doesn't happen to girls only. Goes up to the new guy, fresh off, like, hey, I got a new job, and
Yeah.
says, so how many times you masturbate lah?
Yeah.
And the guy is so uncomfortable, but the worst part is everyone around the boss is laughing.
Yes,
So
that is the state of affairs.
the thing is now, the onus is on us as well. When it comes to sexual harassment, the onus is on us to step up, to go, look, that's not right, boss, or band together lah, because that's the only way to survive lah. I don't think, like you said, the Asian culture is stopping a lot of shit from.
Yeah.
If we want the laws to improve, I think we need more of us need to voice out and explain why this is important, and then maybe people of higher power might look into this slightly further.
Okay, this is just statistics. I'm gonna ask you lah. How often do you actually win a case like this?
There are not many cases like this, but there are very little sexual harassment cases in Malaysia.
There's not even enough case to do a
There's not even
statistics.
enough cases to do. You're right.
Yeah.
There's not enough cases.
Wow.
Let alone, we're talking about when I earlier said 3,906 reports. That's just reports.
Yeah.
How many have gone up to courts? How many have investigated, ventilated in court? None. Very little. Very small amount. Why? Because of the stigma. Because of the perception that if one complains about sexual harassment,
They're
then
weak.
I'm being perceived as a SLUT. It's like I
Yes.
don't know, or grabbing attention. So we need to really change that mindset.
Wow.
We really need to change that mindset.
We should
and
be on the side of the victim, not the
Yeah.
perpetrator. Yeah,
So-
can you imagine Harvey Weinstein in Malaysia? He would have been like, party!
Yeah, if Harvey Weinstein in Malaysia, I'd be happy to be his lawyer.
Easy to get away with it. I don't believe he said that. He meant that in a good kind of way.
Yeah.
Nobody hate
No,
him, please.
No, because really the laws in Malaysia are not as strong when it comes to sexual. That's where I'm getting at the end of the
Yeah.
day. That's what that's the message.
So-
I'm saying. It's not I'm condoning Harvey Weinstein's conduct.
Yep.
In fact, it's disgusting. It's really a bad representation of men all around the world.
Yep.
Really, at the end of the day. But what I'm saying is that Malaysia's laws, when it comes to sexual harassment, is not as strong as we perceive it to be.
So
There has to be really strong protection in terms of harassment is concerned, because we really take it very lightly. That's my opinion.
Alright, dude, I wish we can talk like this
Yeah.
the whole time. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
I wish like
really.
so much more. But
Thank you, thank you.
no, before we close up, we just want to say a few things lah. One, I'm going to quote Spider-Man: "With great powers come great responsibility. If you're a boss, don't abuse that freaking power." And two, speak up. Speak up. It's not your fault what happened to you. Just because you wore a short skirt doesn't mean it gives a right to a guy to grab your ass. I'm sorry, I'm being very blunt here. It's just
Yeah, we need to help each other out.
exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, but dude, thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you, man.
I'm gonna
Thank
allow you to go and continue having 1, 2.
Finish already.
Hey, one more for him lah. You know he's the champion. Give it up lah. For Samuel.